Bring in NewsNation Washington Bureau Chief Mike Viqueira now. He doesn't at any point say I'm running for president, but as you watch it, it feels presidential.
Well, yeah, a very highly produced video sort of coming out of nowhere this morning from Youngkin. And so fascinating, the lane that he chooses to run in. It was presidential in one sense. President Reagan, he invoked him several times in that video, just twice in that clip that you played. And that's the lane that Youngkin appears to be trying to occupy here. You might call it the Mike Pence lane. He wants to go back to traditional Reagan-esque values that were the guiding principle of the Republican Party, you know, since Reagan was elected in 1980 and lasting until roughly, I don't know, 2016. And sort of getting away from the divisive politics and the politics of the resentment that fuels much of the political dialogue today, and frankly, on both sides. And that's what's so interesting about the Youngkin play here. That video, very slick, once again, invoking Reagan, talking about unity, a very sort of positive, kind of uplifting, going for that inspiring vibe, as opposed to what, you know, the mud fight that President Trump and Governor DeSantis, former President Trump and Governor DeSantis, are now engaged in Iowa over a lot of hot-button cultural issues like so-called woke culture and abortion ban. DeSantis signing a 6-week abortion ban into law in Florida just recently. And of course, as you mentioned, Marni, DeSantis getting ready to gather big donors in Miami next week on the 24th and 25th, give them the good news as far as they're concerned about his plans to run for the White House. Of course, the legislative session in Florida has just recently ended, freeing him up legislatively. Remember, they passed that bill allowing him to run, overturning a Florida state law. So it looks like DeSantis is going to officially throw his hat in the ring, even though, as you point out, yeah, he spent last weekend in Iowa and he's going to New Hampshire later this week. And as NewsNation reports, he has that big gathering in Miami with an expected announcement coming the following week, a formal rollout with an event in his hometown in Florida, Marni.
Right, at this point, Mike, everyone's just trying to own the oxygen in the room. Does anybody have it better than former President Trump, though, even given the rumblings of potential announcements that could be imminent?
Well, you know, it's funny because, you know, Ron DeSantis is trying to out-conservative President Trump without all the drama that surrounds President Trump. And, you know, and there is a sense in Washington and I think in the political world, and we saw it demonstrated to the truth of it, or at least backed up in the election in 2020 and the midterms in 2022, that a significant portion of the American public is tired of that drama, and it sort of worked for President Biden in the midterm elections as he backed Democrats running across the country to talk about MAGA Republicans, and that is a theme that we constantly hear from Democrats and the White House over the course up until today, and I think we're going to continue hearing that as the campaign unfolds. And so that's partly what's so interesting to me about the Youngkin announcement here. Remember, when Youngkin was elected, he came off the pace to defeat the former governor of Virginia, Terry McAuliffe, to win the governor's mansion in the Commonwealth. He shied away, not even shied away, he didn't even want to talk about Donald Trump on the campaign trail, and he swept into office, convincingly beating an established Democrat in Terry McAuliffe. And he's apparently going to try to run the same play in a national campaign here coming up. And as the calendar ticks past and the date gets later and later, people who are going to pull the trigger are going to need to do it soon. And I think that's what we're seeing Youngkin teasing a run very clearly.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.